Hi everybody. Hey, hope you enjoyed the live chat with me and Sue the other day. I'm sorry for the some of the bad video and maybe some of the bad audio. I don't know. I watched it after we got done. It seemed okay to me, kinda. I'm trying to figure out how to do this on the computer. I'm using OSM as my studio, and it's a little complicated for me. And I had it going there for a while in the trial state before anybody could really see it, and it looked okay. Everything was working. I figured as time goes on, I'll learn to tweak it. But when I actually went live, I mean, all you do is hit the live button, right? And then when I actually went live, I think the audio was there, but the video just disappeared. And I don't know what happened because it was working perfectly. And by that time, I'm already live, and I didn't want to take the time to try to figure out on air what I was doing wrong. And so I just cut it and went to the phone real quick, because there's a lot of people that was in standby. I think like 50-some people were standing by for the video to start, or the live chat to start, and so I just didn't want to hold everybody up for that. So I knew the phone. I pretty much knew how to get that going real quick. So Melody Lane is going to, I think, going to help me here and figure out how to get this thing set up. I don't know exactly how I'm going to do it. Call her, go up to her house and let her show me, take my computer with me maybe, and let her show me exactly the setup she has using OSM, because it's pretty good. And I'd like to get something like that going, and I don't really know exactly what I need. I kind of think I know what I need, but I just want to see exactly how it's set up. And her boy there, he might be the computer whiz, I don't know. And there's a good chance that maybe I'll get whatever I need. He'll tell me what to order, I'll order it, I'll get it in, and maybe I'll just pay him a fee to come down here and set it up for me and show me how to get it going. And if that's what I got to do, that's what I got to do. So with that being said, let's get on with this. A little bit of Villages news. I haven't done that for a couple of weeks, if you guys have noticed. There's been no news on Friday, because I feel like it's just repetitive. Shoplifters, druggies, people's children living down here that cause trouble. It just seems like it's constantly, and after a while, I don't know how you guys feel about it, but after a while, I just get tired of it. I just get tired of, I feel like I'm constantly reading bad news to everybody, and I don't want to do that, because I've been in this neighborhood now for right at 5 years. It'll be 5 years this coming October, next month. And I haven't never seen a problem here at all. I've been to Brownwood several times, and even though I've seen some reports of Brownwood having some problems down there, I've never seen it. So it's very rare. You know, you almost have to go to Brownwood like every night of the week, 7 days a week, to see anything really. But when it does happen, it seems like that's the big news. And it just makes things look bad or sound bad, and they're not bad at all. I have no problem going anywhere. Sue and I have no problem walking anywhere and everywhere, morning or night. We feel very, very safe. But the news sometimes makes it sound like that things here is getting decrepit, and they're not. The bigger we get, though, there seems to be a larger percentage of things happening all over. Spanish Springs to Brownwood, probably to Finney. I haven't really paid attention to news in Finney area, but it's probably even down there too. These things, I'm hoping somehow, some way, there'll be some more rules set aside, maybe by the developer, and it'll make things a little tougher for things to happen. I don't know. We'll see. But for right now, I think that's the main reason why Sue would like to buy a bigger home. And in some ways I would too. You know me, I want a golf cart garage, and I don't have one. But I mean, we're good here. We got a 2-car garage with 4-foot bump outs, 4 foot longer, 4 foot wider. So we're okay. We get by. The golf cart garage, though, would just be nice, that's all. And 3-bedroom, 2-bath, the way this house is designed, it's good. We have no problem at all. Would I like a bigger home? I don't care about the square footage so much. That's the big thing with most people. They want square footage. I would like to, here's what I'd like to have. Golf cart garage, number one. I don't care about a big piece of property either. People are always saying that. I want a bigger yard. Houses too close together. Look, we're retired. And the last thing we want to do is spend every weekend taking care of the yard like you do up north. I'd work 50, 60 hours a week, Monday through Friday. Saturday and Sunday, I spent most of the time around the house mowing grass, trimming bushes, trimming the tree limbs, just constant stuff. I don't want to do that here. So a smaller yard to me is good. I don't want an itty bitty, where our neighbor's 2 feet from my house. I don't want that. And I understand that. We were talking to Linda and her husband. We went down to Edna on the Green. I don't know if you guys have seen that video yet, but it'll be up. Maybe interesting to some of you, maybe not to some of you. But basically, we were talking about the lanais and people being so close. Well, here, if you have lanais that are close to your neighbor, they call them kissing lanais. It's a nice little play on words, but really what that means is, if you're sitting in your lanai, a kissing lanai is straight across from you, and if you don't have something to give you some privacy, then you're looking into your neighbor's lanai, they're looking into your lanai. If they're talking on a cell phone, you're listening to the conversation. And then here's the bad part. If your neighbor over there is a cigar or cigarette smoker and you're not, there could be a problem, because that smoke drifts over in your lanai. I guarantee you, wherever you're at, that smoke will drift in your lanai. I'm not a smoker. I once was. I'm not putting it down whatsoever. People do what they want to do. But I don't want to smell it. I don't want to be around it. I don't want to smell cigar smoke, pipe smoke, or any other kind of smoke. So I made sure I didn't have kissing lanais, mainly because of that. You can criticize if you want, but that's my freedom of choice. So when I got my house here, and remember there's only 3 available when I bought here, that's what led me to this one. The other 2 had kissing lanais, and this one doesn't. This one is, the people right here behind us is on a cul-de-sac. I'm in the neighborhood just right behind that cul-de-sac. So the properties back there are all kind of pie-shaped. So when you look out my lanai, basically, there's a neighbor over there, but he doesn't bother me, I don't bother him. The next closest lanai would be, I don't know, maybe Heart Attack Bob's over here, but he never used a lanai. And the new people over there, I've already met them, they don't smoke or anything, and the odds are, I don't think they're going to use that lanai very much either. It's a small lanai in that house there. That particular design has a very small lanai. So no, I don't think they're going to use it, and the rest of them are like way over yonder on the other side of the cul-de-sac over there. And so that's why I like this house compared to the other 2 that we looked at. I don't have a kissing lanai, and that's really what led me to this place. The news, I haven't done much news, so let me see what I can find here. As you know, I am not prepared. Starting with the news right now, something about pineapples. Papa Pineapples bringing tropical twist to tacos in new downtown Leesburg location. Leesburg is right next door to us. Matter of fact, for those of you that don't know, the Villages bought property from Leesburg. Leesburg had that property set aside for an industrial park. That never happened. They came to the developer of the Villages to see if he'd be interested in buying that property. They did some negotiating about water shedding and stuff like that. They got all that taken care of, I think, and I'm almost positive the Villages ended up buying that property over there for future development. Now, is that going to be part of the Villages? I don't know that, but I think the developer did buy it. And if it is, somehow, some way, there's going to be a golf cart trail connecting that newer area of Leesburg to us over here. So if that's the case, and this is almost funny when you think about it, if that's the case, and a big if, I don't know, but when they start developing that, and if they do connect it by golf cart trail, I'll be able to drive my golf cart from here to Leesburg. Think about that. One of these days I'll be able to drive it to Orlando. Owner Scott Snyder has operated Pop-Up Pineapples as a food truck for many years and is hoping to make a permanent home at 314 Main Street in the heart of downtown Leesburg. Maybe it's just me, but pineapple tacos sounds disgusting. See, there's a bad news right there. I don't want to read it. There's another bad news right there. Don't want to read it. There's another one right there. Don't want to read it. And there's another one right there. Don't want to read it. See, 5 articles in today's news. 4 of them are bad. I'm not going to read them. Let's move on. Here's one that looks pretty good. Let me see what it says. Fruitland Park Library's Gardenia Cafe quickly proving to be a hit with patrons. Fruitland Park is right next door to the villages. Matter of fact, there's some of the villages that's actually part of Fruitland Park, the town, which would be Pine Hills and Pine Ridge. Part of them, or all of them, I'm not 100% sure, is part of that area over there, and they pay city taxes for over there. So when I report Fruitland Park stuff, it's kind of because part of the villages is part of Fruitland Park. Fruitland Park or Lady Lake? I could be wrong about that. Let me back up. Pine Ridge and Pine Hills may be part of Lady Lake. Fruitland Park, I think, is on down the road from Lady Lake. Google it. The new Fruitland Park Library officially opened its doors in July, and along with the big event came an eatery that's quickly become quite popular among patrons, city workers, and area residents. Good for them. Another place to eat. It means Deb and Sue has some other place to go. Nope. I ain't reading that. I ain't reading that. Nope. I ain't reading that either. Hey, Villages News. If anybody at the Villages News watches my channel, I'm going to stop reading a lot of your news because there are 2 days of news that I read, totally of 10 articles. Out of 10 articles, there was 1 for each day, 1 good article of good news on each day, and then 4 bad. I don't want to say you're being discriminatory, but I've lived here for a while, and I've been down here 25 plus years, off and on. I mean, I'm not a newbie here. And I was here when Spanish Springs was the only square there was. This is before Brownwood and before Finney. And I realize there's a problem here and there, and it does pop up. You know, theft, kids, yeah. But you're making it sound like out of 5 articles, 1 article is something that's kind of not, you know, decent. And then 4 articles, something bad. Drugs, shoplifter, this, that, whatever. Most of those people don't live in the villages. It may happen in the villages, but most of the people don't reside here. And you're making it sound like the villages is really a crime center or something, and it's not. I think you ought to start maybe redirecting your efforts a little bit and equally kind of divide it up, because of all the good things that goes on around here every day, there's no way that you can find 4 bad things and only 1 good thing. It should be the other way around. 4 good things and only 1 bad thing. I mean, that's just my opinion here. So I'm just simply not going to report it. Okay, here's one. This ain't a bad news thing, and it's not a good news thing. It's more of an educational thing, and I think it's important because we are getting ready to come into snowbird season in just a couple of months, maybe even less than that. A lot of them start coming down in October. Basically what I was talking about, here's the title, it says, Brush Up on Rules for Roundabouts Prior to Arrival of Snowbirds. And that is so true. You know, forget the rules. Because I'm going to tell you one thing, what the rules are, and then somebody's going to say, no, that's not correct, because they think they know something else. And I'm not even going to pretend that I know what 100% of the rules are, because they got videos about it you can Google. You can video the Sumter County Police Department. I think there's a video on there about the proper use of a roundabout. And that's who you're going to have to deal with if something goes wrong. You're going to be dealing with Sumter County. So your neighbor telling you what you can and can't do doesn't really count. What I tell you what you can and can't do doesn't really count. You have an accident of any kind, what you explained to that Sumter County sheriff, that's what's going to count. So you really need to find out how they look at it, how they see it, and what the law really is, because it's to me, the rules and regulations, they're not necessarily confusing, but I just don't want to give them anymore. I'm just done with it, because it's kind of like why I would want to explain to you the difference between one political party and another. It's a constant argument. I'm not going to get into it anymore. But just know, here's what I say: cover your ass. Don't have nobody next to you if you can keep from it. In the trucker world, that's called leave yourself a way out. That's exactly what it's called. If something should happen, you can move to the right or move to the left because there's nobody next to you. That's called leave yourself a way out. And that's what I'm going to tell you. When you go to a roundabout, if you don't know nothing about roundabouts, there's two things that I can tell you. Well, there's a lot of things I can tell you that you just do or don't do. One is leave yourself a way out. The second one is always go right. Never go left. I don't know how that ever got started. You never go left in a roundabout. Never, ever, never, ever. You don't come into a roundabout and turn left. The roads go to the right. The arrows painted on the road tell you go to the right. The signs next to the roundabout say all lanes go to the right. Always go to the right. And the third thing I'll tell you in a roundabout is never stop and never back up. You understand? When you're in a roundabout, never stop, never back up. Never, ever, ever. A roundabout is not a place to stop and decide, oh, I want to go here or go there. You're going to cause an accident. If you miss your exit, just go around. It's a roundabout. Just keep going in a circle until you come back to your exit again and then take it. Don't stop and back up. I'll let that go now. There's probably a lot of other do's. You know, that'd be interesting. Those of you that watch my videos, and those of you that live here, and those of you, or at least those of you that are familiar with how things are here, leave a comment below of the do's and the don'ts in a roundabout. So people that's coming down for a visit, and people that don't really understand what a roundabout maybe even is, help them out. Leave on the comments below the do's and the don'ts in a roundabout. And when I say that, let me say this: the villages roundabouts. The roundabout rules in Indiana may not be the same rules as they are here. The roundabouts that you have in whatever state you're from, I don't even know, may not be the same rules as they are here. Our roundabouts are fairly small. Most of them are only 2 lanes wide. I've been in some roundabouts in some cities where the lanes are 4 lanes wide, and they're huge. And those rules in that city somewhat not 100% match our rules here. So if you're familiar with the villages in Sumter County rules of or Florida law for that matter, roundabout rules, comment. The do's and the don'ts in a Florida roundabout. Did I say that right? I hope so. Additional lane of traffic to be added this month at Delmar Gate. What? I thought they already done that. A long time ago they were talking, when I was a gate guard, we had a class and they were talking about the updating of different gates and adding this and that, you know, and Delmar was top of the list right there because especially in the wintertime, there's a huge backup sometimes, and that's a dual lane road there that takes you over to that one shopping center. It goes behind Spanish Springs, actually. Don't know the name of that road. But anyway, that road, yeah, you can, and then golf carts have to cross right there, leaving the square, and if they live down the Delmar Road, they got to go straight across. They got to cross 2 lanes of traffic, actually 4 lanes, 2 lanes going south, 2 lanes going north, and then they got to get in to that gate. While that gate gets backed up, it's a single lane, and so they were adding a lane, and I'm going back, golly, seems to me, how long has it been since I was a gate guard? I'm going to say a year ago, at least a year ago, and they were talking about it then, so they're just now getting around to it. Shoot, I thought that was a done deal. Oh, by the way, beer of the day, Yingling Lager. Sue had to go mail some more packages. Those of you that ordered t-shirts, thank you. We're still packaging them up. I got 2 more orders today, shipping them out, starting to run a little bit low on sizes. I'm not going to reorder anymore. I hope I can, we can get these things sold and get them out of here before our trip. We're getting ready. Her last treatment is September 19th. I think I've said that before, but I just want to reiterate so you don't forget. Hopefully by September 20th, I'm going to be on the road, and we're not coming back till probably the end of October, at least to the end of October. So we're going to travel a little bit. If everything goes right. If everything don't go right, then we may be home early, but I'm assuming everything will be okay, and it'll be the end of October before we start heading back this direction. So those of you that want to buy a t-shirt to support the channel, and we do appreciate it, we really do, get them in now, man. Get them in now so I can get these things bagged and tagged and get your address on them, and we can drop them off at the post office. Other than that, below each video here, down in the description box, is a link to our RV channel. You can read it. It says Skip and Sue RV Adventures, I think. You can click on that and go to that RV channel. Hit the subscribe button and hit the bell button. That way you'll be notified every time we put up a new video. And we're going to try to do the best we can to let people on that channel know where we're at from one day to the next. I might be sitting somewhere for a couple of days, like say at a state park or something, but then I'm going to try to do a video and get it downloaded. Wi-Fi is a big thing on the road. Either you have it or you don't, and you got to have decent Wi-Fi for downloading videos. So I'm going to try to do a video, like say on a Monday, and let you know on Wednesday we're going to be here for a day or two. So if I'm anywhere in your area and you want to meet or have lunch or something together, or have a drink or something together, or if you want to buy a t-shirt, I'm going to pack what t-shirts I got left, and I'm going to put them in the camper, and I'm going to take them with me. So that way if you want to buy one on the road, I can personally maybe deliver it to you. Or at the very least, if you order it, if I get close enough to your area, or even in the same state, then I can drop it off at a local post office, which is a lot cheaper on postage to do it. Oh man, that beer. It's cheaper to do it that way. So anyway, appreciate every one of you for helping to support the channel. It helps tremendously. When you're on a fixed income, and I don't get a huge amount. I did retire from UPS, but I didn't get 30 years in at UPS to get the top, pension. I had 14 years in. And then of course Sue has her disability, and we do okay, but we're not rich by far. I know some people might think we are, but we're not. We budget our money. I don't travel the world. I don't take a cruise every month like some people do here. We live a good life here, but we don't travel. I don't think we travel like we would like to travel and do some of the things that we would like to do. And truthfully, in our future, unless somebody dies and leaves us $1 million, which I don't think that's going to happen, I don't think that we're ever going to be able to do some of the traveling that we would kind of like to do. We're just going to have to limit it and pick and choose some of the major things. And I don't know. I mean, like next year, I think it's next year. You have to ask Sue. I don't know. Our 50th wedding anniversary is coming up. Everybody does a special something on their 50th, don't they? I got neighbors over here that went to Hawaii on their 50th, and so we got to do something special. I just don't know what it is. So it's those kinds of things that, when you're on a limited income, you just have to kind of think about those things. Because even if you do those things, you still got bills you got to pay. You still have maintenance on your cars and stuff that have to be done. I don't want to sound like I'm whining, because I'm not. I live a good life here. Bad. Alamanda Recreation Center will be closed through September. Probably maintenance, getting ready for snowbirds to come back. Bad news. See how that whole day right there, I think I have 2 articles that was decent. This isn't bad and it isn't good. It's kind of bad for the villages, but for us it's no big thing, but I'll read it. Landscaper bails on contract for Lake Sumter Landing Market Square. A landscaper company has bailed on a contract for upkeep of Lake Sumter Landing Market Square. The $226,091.78. Don't forget that 78 cents. That's important. annual contract had been awarded to KB Lawn and Landscaping Incorporated, which had the contract for 5.5 years. KB Lawn and Landscaping Incorporated made the decision that they no longer would be in a position to provide landscape and irrigation maintenance services for their district agreements, according to a memo from the district's purchasing director, Mark LaRocque. In March, Hardscapes of Central Florida LLC purchased several landscape and irrigation agreements from KB Lawn and Landscaping Incorporated, including the contract for Lake Sumter Landing Market Square. However, on August 8th, Hardscapes of Central Florida LLC notified District Property Management of the company's inability to continue these services after August 31st. The company has asked to be released from the contract. Sounds like to me that they purchased the contracts, and then after they did it for a little while, realized that maybe they weren't making as much money as they wanted to, and so they're asking to be released from the contracts. Well, I guess that'll be up to them. I know how I'd feel about it if I had that contract and you signed it with me. Just saying. Leesburg police officer battles flames and pulls man from burning truck after crash. I'd say that man in the truck owes that officer a beer or two, wouldn't you? This don't sound like good or bad. Well, I guess it's good for Wildwood. As the booming city of Wildwood is poised to nearly double its population again in next year's census, residents will vote this fall in a referendum by mail whether to adopt a new city charter. The charter, last renewed in 2003, defines the responsibilities and duties of the city and its officials. The revised charter was developed over the past year by a charter review committee, which included City Manager Jason McHugh and Commissioner Joe Elliott. An April 1 population estimated released recently by the University of Florida Bureau of Economic and Business Research put Wildwood at 12,665 residents. Last year's estimate was 9,511. Yeah, Wildwood is growing quite a bit because of the villages. There's a lot of the villages, I guess, that falls into Wildwood city limits, and I'm going to say, and I don't know all the different territories down there, but I think Finney is one, and possibly Marsh Bend, possibly Linden. Some of them other ones down there are all within the Wildwood city limits. And I say that because I've been down there many times, looking around, doing video, that I see Wildwood city police cars sitting down there, here and there. And I don't mean sitting at a restaurant taking a lunch break. I mean I see them sitting there monitoring traffic. So it's just something to know that you're kind of in the Wildwood city limits there. Here, I'm Sumter County, and we are not part of Wildwood city limits here. Because anytime you call the police about anything, they refer you to Sumter County. So I guess I'm county, I guess. I don't know how all that works. They kind of share territory and all that kind of stuff. See, our village's fire department is Sumter County. It's not the village's fire department. It's just the fire department that's inside the villages. So whenever Sumter County has an all-out fire, the village's fire department can be called, and they go to it. For example, this happened I'm making this too long already. This is an example last night. I'm going to call this. This is kind of bad news, I suppose. Not for villages, really, but for the snowbirds coming down, you should know this. Marion, the markets of Marion, right? Is that what you call it? The markets of Marion? Marion markets? You know, the big flea market as you head toward Ocala up there on 441. Last night it was all over the news. Huge fire. Huge fire. I saw video of it. It's just astronomical fire. I don't know how much it was destroyed, but I know a lot of it is gone. So they may have a lot of it ready to go by the time you get down here. I'm saying there's going to be a lot of it that's not going to be there. They'll have to change it somehow, some way. Maybe make outside tables. I don't know. A huge fire. Marion markets of Marion, whatever it's called up there. So there's lots and lots of destruction there. Hopefully they'll get that remedied. It's one of them places around here, especially in the wintertime. Literally thousands and thousands of people go there every weekend because they can get their fresh fruits and vegetables there. Yeah, they got a huge farmers market there. There's lots of stuff there. You've been to flea markets before. Lots of stuff there. They got a lot of tools there too. I don't really go for too much of their tools or anything unless it's some little minor thing, because most of the tools they sell in there is that Chinese junk, and that's just what it is. It's crap. Ask anybody that's a tool guy. I'm a tool guy. They'll tell you that stuff is what I call throwaway tools. You use them until something breaks, you throw it away. I don't want that stuff. I like Snap-on, Craftsman, you know, things that's got some kind of a warranty. Good steel. I suppose that's American steel, U.S. steel. I don't know whose steel it is, but yeah, I don't like the Chinese crap. I just don't. So anyway, you guys have a great day. Here it is. It's still in the 90s here in Florida. Hurricane. We had no problem with a hurricane whatsoever. It's very still out. Little bit of a breeze, but not much of one. The clouds are starting to roll in, it looks like, for our afternoon shower. It's about 11 o'clock right now, maybe 11:30. Maybe it's later than that. What time is it? I got to look so somebody don't say, what? And you're drinking beer before noon? I'm not sure what time's got to do with it, but anyway. 1:14. That's what time it is. So there. I'll drink my beer if I want to, okay? RV channel, don't forget to subscribe. You're going to see some video on there that you're not going to see on here. Patreon members, thank you, thank you, thank you. You guys are already seeing video on Patreon, and you guys are already getting some deals on Patreon that they don't see here. And not that I'm trying to discriminate anybody, but Patreon people support me a lot. And so I return the favor as much as I possibly can. Phil, I got your ribs. They're already gone, bud. You don't have to ask how they was. They're gone. We done, well, I shouldn't say Sue. She doesn't eat a lot of red meat. But I done sucked them babies down, and they were absolutely wonderful. I don't know what kind of flavoring you had on the ribs, but I do appreciate you dropping them off. But while you were here, man, you should have picked your t-shirts up. They were laying right in there. So now, before I leave, I want to make sure you get them. So until then, see you guys on the other side.